Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to PCM24 Yeti. It's episode 28. It's on to August the 1st, so we are ready to make our signings for the coming year. Of course, it's an interesting period. We're going to break down what's going on and why here shortly. We're also going to first break down our team. In terms of roles, because we're talking low salaries, every single one of them is 3K or less. So a sprinter is the highest role that we've had to give out so far, and a couple luxury teammates, and everybody else is on teammate assignments, which means keeping morale high is a lot easier. They just have to get races, and we've had a relatively light schedule for the last couple of years, so for some of the lower riders that's difficult. But the big thing is, when do contracts expire? And half of the team are still with us for the next 2 years. We made a lot of signings last year, and most of them were 3-year deals. We have just 3 riders whose contracts will expire next year. Okaki has been a bit of a bust. He was one of our earliest signings, a year 1 signing, and he has developed very slowly from 1.5 to just 2 stars. Sophia was the bust who had high potential, but at the start of the year and after we just signed him, it turned out that he had no rate of progression from there. Zippanati was the one who I signed this last year to a shorter contract, just a 2-year deal, as a bit of a holdover until we can get some better riders. So in all likelihood, all 3 of them will be gone next year, and we'll have that clean slate on who and what to sign. But this year we have 6 expiring contracts, and some of them are key riders. Shembri is another one of those, a bit of a bust, year 1 deals, long-term project, had some potential, but really not making much progress towards that, currently at 2 stars. If he's ever going to reach that 4-star, it's going to take all 20 levels, and he's going to be like 80 years old before he reaches that potential, the way he is progressing. Regatta is another limited potential rider. Baitsakin, actually, the second guy from this year that we signed to a shorter deal, just the 1-year deal, just a holdover until better options came along. Abdullah does have some potential at 4-star and has made progress. He was a 2 or 2.5 star guy when we signed him, now 3 stars and getting better. So he is worth hanging on to, the one from this group. The other 2 are key signings, key guys, the 2 luxury teammates, in fact, Hopkins and Walters, and of course they've done a lot for us last year, but both of them are older, reached their potential. Walters technically has a little bit more, but realistically neither one of them have any more potential than what they have right now. Not worth it to sign these guys, again, to spend the points, especially when we are looking at getting bigger and better, and with the Snowball there's a lot better options than what we had when we signed these 2. So as much as it pains me to leave behind 2 of our key riders, that is exactly what's going to end up happening. And Abdullah is the only one who is going to get re-signed. As you can see, he's still got a healthy web. In fact, I think it was Abdullah, the one who did the opposite of Sophia, and that was see his potential raised this season. Already 22 though, so it's going to be a little harder for him to actually make that progress and achieve that. But that's a healthy web, and he has leveled up at a decent pace. So first things first, we want to renew the contract with him. At this moment, we are spending 32,000 on riders with Abdullah signed for the minimum. That brings us up to 34.5. We still have just over 40K remaining for additional signings. Of course, we still have staff to include, but with 550,000, I'm not opposed to putting ourselves a little bit over the top on that and relying on winnings to help offset. Team index actually does go up 1 spot, as Abdullah currently is one of our top 3 riders. But when breaking the team down by evaluation, 2 things are going to stand out. 1, of course, Zhu getting that upgrade, being the fastest guy on paper, and somehow being 4-star while being one of our weakest riders, and we've really struggled to get him to succeed. Zhu has yet to pick up a win, and there's been some conversations in the comments, and I think I have had some verbal comments regarding whether or not to use Zhu, and at times I have tried other riders in his stead, especially if he didn't have the race day condition bonuses. But you see Abdullah does currently come in as our number 2 guy, and Zippanati currently number 3, but of course limited potential. Just out of nowhere, Chang, one of our lowest prospects, has already hit 3 stars, and Chang You can see he's got that type of potential that you see in Shu, but will be a more well-rounded. He won't be atrocious in climbs, though not good. He'll have a cobble and hills rating and certainly the flat rating that will really help him be more effective as a sprinter. But not only has Chang leveled up, but our number of 3-star guys all the way down to Beitzikin now, where back on the start page we had about 1, I'd say about Lubers. So we've added something along the lines of 5 or 6 new 3-star riders over the course of this season. So a lot of those prospects are now achieving that potential rather rapidly and not yet done on it. I mean, a lot of these guys still have further potential. Shui, Lubers, Grönland in particular, and then Hallinen, the new one. I think Hallinen came in as a 2-star. That's the nice thing, is that the bottom end of the team has really largely disappeared, setting us up for being in a better state next year, especially if I can sign any of these better riders in the coming year, especially as we're likely to be stuck in Continental one more season. The index has definitely picked up. We're up to 39th, 38th with Abdullah coming back as one of our top 3, but that's not get you into Continental Pro level. In fact, we're still off the bubble as it is right now, but even with the signings I think we're about to make to boost us up to get at least 3 4-star guys, because you're rating based on just your top 3 riders, they ignore everybody else on your team. Those additions are only going to make so much progress for us, and I think it's still going to leave us short. But here's where things stand. 4 4-star prospects have been added, one of them only just late July here, and we got 10%. The one guy who actually made some progress with that. So Ponemar, Pickrell made gains, still only got yellow, but we made it to yellow. Sverchek just made it. Right now, middle of July, he was still in the red. We just got him to yellow, and that was because we got him... Oh, actually, no, he was only middle June we lucked out there. Some of these guys were just barely inching their way along, like Hagland. We picked up Hagland very early, second window, and we just made it. Sverchek and Hagland both went from red to yellow this time. If they are in the red, even if you agree to terms, you pay them enough, you offer them enough of a plush roll, they still will not sign. If it's in the red, it's impossible. So Coat will not be signing with us. That's already one eliminated from our choices. Abdullah already has signed, and only a single rider from this group has gotten into the green. We're looking at 3 prospects and 4 guys for those top 3 spots. That's already down to 3. So 3 guys for the top 3 spots. That doesn't mean I have to sign all 3, as we do have Zhu, who is at 4-star level. So to at least get 3 riders at 4-star, which is going to be really important to the team reputation, the index. Even if we don't make Continental Pro now, which I don't think we will, I don't think 3 4-star guys is going to be enough. I showed you an episode or 2 ago that all of the teams in Continental Pro, as it were right now, only one of them was 3 4-star guys. All the other teams had at least 1 4.5-star. So it's going to take somebody leveling up, and most of these guys are not young. So it's unlikely that any of them would. And Shu already leveled up recently. So for him to level up again and hit 4.5 stars is highly unlikely this season. We're going to have to wait on a prospect to grow in. But what this really does for us is the dossier cost was insane. Next year, with 3 4-star guys, we have a better reputation. Dossier costs go down, interest levels go up. So we will trend in the right direction to be able to make moves. But in reality, it looks like it's going to take some internal development of getting to at least 1 4.5-star guy, if not 2 4.5-star guys, to get into Continental Pro. Which makes Hagland our top prospect. And a hell of a signing. Edvin Hagland of Liechtenstein. 19-year-old on the UAE Academy team. Currently 3.5 stars. He was 3 stars when I first noticed him in May. He's already jumped to 3.5, but he's a 5.5-star potential with stage racer potential for us. This is going to come down to cost on whether we can keep him long term, but he is our path to Continental Pro and beyond at this stage. A 3-year deal is dangerous because he's going to renew for a ton of money. But a 1-year deal is equally dangerous. A 1-year deal, or he already might be asking for more money than the 2.5 or even the 3K. Let's find out on that part. But even if he's not, I'm guessing because of the interest, it's going to take at least 3K to sign him. But if we sign him to a 1-year deal, chances are he'll be a 4-star at the end of the year. We have to re-sign him for 6K or 8K or 10K. That's something we can probably afford. And then we can sign a 3-year deal. And even though we'll be paying him more for those 3 years than we would to do 3 years right now, we're at least getting that 4th year out of him. We're stretching that salary over 4 years instead of just 3. And then being unable to afford the guy because he's way too good and we don't have the finances to retain him. Maybe after 4 years we can afford to retain him. I'm going to take the risk of a short deal now and 3K, and sure, luxury teammate, no problem, and hope that he only develops to 4 stars and not beyond that, so that next year we can re-sign him by August 1st, still as a 4-star guy for 10K or less, then to that longer deal. So trying to taking a risk to turn this into a 4-year deal before his rates get crazy. That's not going to do it though, huh? It looks like I'm going to have to go for the 3-year deal because there's no way. The 2-year deal, he's going to be too good by that point and be way too expensive. So we're going to have to take our chances, apparently, with the 3-year deal. We're nowhere near a contract right now on the 1-year deal, and I'm not happy with the 2. Looks like we're going expensive now. Let's go 4.5, though that does it. Okay. 3-year deal, 4.5K already as it is. The other prospect that I'm very keen on signing is the 5.5-star potential sprinter, Gottstein, who not the most well-rounded, but he'll climb well enough. He'll have a strong flat rating, and will be a very good sprinter in time. Already 20 years of age, a 69 for his sprint level, meaning we're already replacing the Walters of the world that we're set to lose. We've already added that depth this year anyway to let those guys go. So that's 5 out and 2 in so far. We have 1 prospect remaining and the 3 big names. I don't know if I want to get after the additional prospect. It depends a little bit on what happens with our top 3 guys. Beginning with Pickrell. Pickrell's the biggest one that I want to get. 74 sprint, 76 acceleration, very similar speed to Shu. But he's got a 70 hills. He's got a 73 cobble rating. He's got stamina and resistance. He's got a great 76 flat rating. And while he's not much of a climber, Pickrell is the rider we want Shu to be. Meaning this next year, if we have Pickrell on the books, and he's only 24 years of age, he doesn't have much potential remaining, would be an incredibly valuable piece with our team. Plus the 4-star rating element that we are desperate for. 15 dossier points to sign him, and he's not a fan of anything. But we can turn him into a sprinter. Let's start with that. Let's go with the 3-year deal. I don't think we're going to get much better than 4 stars for a while. It's going to take us time, right? Especially if we're still at least a year away from Continental Pro. And then once you get to Continental Pro, you're only going to get 1 or 2 World Tour races in a year initially. You have to place in the top 3 to then guarantee some World Tour races. So we're still looking at least a couple years before we're in a stable state and can really start snowballing countries that are going to get us better riders. So Pickrell could be our leader for a long time. Let's see what happens with the 6,800. Remember, we're moderate interest. Well, he's already saying that's moderate, so we'll give it at least a little bump. Yeah, that's left us pretty short here. How are we doing on the salary piece? Right now we are going to spend 10K of the 44. So we have 35K left with 2 signings necessary. So, 10K each still gets us in the ballpark. But we're going to get a healthy bump on the salary when he's happy. Let's see what 8-3 does. Wow, he's still not happy. 2 more chances. 9-3. He is happy now, but the interest part is still holding us back, and that we have to overpay right now, which is a problem. I don't think the 9-8 is going to do it. The 10-3, even that is iffy. Let's go with 10-8. We had to push it over the line. At minimum, we need 2 of these guys to raise our profile. It's just bottom line. No choice. Coates out, so it's down to Sverchek or Ponomar. Ponomar is the one I would rather have. I'd rather not have to spend 10-8. Only 23, but already essentially maxed out. Looks like he's got maybe 1 point for flat. Definitely hoping for him to be cheaper, and it looks like we are headed exactly that direction. 5.2. Much better deal. Much better deal. So we are currently 5 out, 4 in. I'm not opposed to getting one smaller. I'm not opposed to that being deals done. But let's look at what we've got for Sverchek first. At this point, I'm not even 100% committed towards Pickrell being the guy, as that's a pretty expensive salary for us. Sverchek, you can see pretty well-rounded, but towards the non-climber side. But that is somebody who, for us, that's capable of getting at least those pro wins and competing pretty well with them. The hills and acceleration, right, it's not amazing, but it's definitely better than what we have on the roster. First offer, 3 years, luxury teammate, happy with those, but the salary, not at all happy. So up to 51, and that's still, he's happy, but the interest is very low for Sverchek. I'm not sure. Looks like we're going to have to go pretty high. Surprised that actually gave me the boost it did. Maybe 6-1 might have worked, but probably not. Here is Harasim. You can see kind of a similar profile, but a stronger sprinter in what he is potential to do. And already at 3 stars means he would actually be a good addition to the team. And a 73 flat rating with a bit punchy makes him on the better end of what the squad would have. I'm not sure I'm going to actually sign everyone. I'm not going to commit to it, but let's see if he would take a minimum type deal. He does have the limited interest. He would sign for 3K. Still 1st of August, but I've done my analysis, and I very quickly signed Gottstein, Abdullah, Hagland, 3 prospects and cheap, and Ponomar. The cheapest of the 3, and was second on my list, and I needed to sign 2. So it made perfect sense to go ahead and sign him. What's left is Harasim, who we could sign for 3K, and he's definitely a decent prospect. Is a good one. Might not be available next year if I don't sign him. But he does have a team, so he's certainly going to find a home if we don't. Or Pickrell or Sverchek. Pickrell I like the best. But he's only a little bit better than Sverchek. And he definitely costs more. 4K more than Sverchek will cost us. So is that 4K worth it? Is it worth it to sign all 3 of them? Do we have the finances for it? Let's start with that part. If we sign all 3 of them, not including staff, we'll have 10K left over. By the time we get to staff, we will definitely be over. We'll also be locked in on 3-year contracts with a lot of guys that aren't cheap, meaning our hands will be pretty tied next year. Now, next year, what's the pool like? Well, we've got the potential of that pop 3 group, right? We've got 3 more wins that we could get between now and next August. And there's a good chance that we'll get some of those wins, right? There was a good chance we were going to get some of them this year. It's amazing we've only managed 1 win this season, but we've barely played compared to last year, and we've had a lot of close calls. And then there's been the Zhu conundrum of, is he helping us or hurting us? I'm nervous about spending all that cash and locking up that many contracts for 3 years. So I'm going to go with no. I will not sign all 3 of those guys. But who to sign? Do we just say 3K and leave out Harasim and get 3 new 4-star guys to give us 4 4-star guys to give us better odds of getting where we need to be in a year? Even then, we're only saving a little bit. I think it's too much to spend. So realistically, we've got to get 1 more 4-star guy. Harasim is not that. And I don't want to sign all 3, so Harasim is out. So it's down to Pickrell and Sverchek. Pickrell costs 4K more and is just a little bit better. But I want that little bit better. And I think that little bit better is worth the 4K. Sverchek out, Pickrell in. So we're going to cancel the deal with Sverchek and Harasim. And this, pushing us forward, will give us a much healthier index. It'll put us in the mix for a while, but I have a feeling we will get bumped out before too long. With those signings, the team index, at least temporarily, does get us up into Continental Pro, but only 5 spots. And that is why it's quite clear that once the other signings take place, we will get bumped out. But this is way higher than we were a year ago. And again, the way things work is it's based on your January 1 team. And our January 1 team was nothing but 3 stars. So to go from a 3-star team to a 4-star team is huge progress. It was costly in dossiers. It was costly in interest. We had to pay extra to get these guys signed on. Now, next year, we are a 4-star team with a much higher reputation that will have an easier time signing guys. The dossier cost will be lower. The contract cost will be lower. And that's why it was important to not sign Sverchek. We've got to be able to keep some options open for next year. So just 4 new signings for the coming year, but you can see just how much better the squad is going to be, as we're going to go from barely a 2.25 star rating as a team to nearly a 3-star rating. Big time progress, and we are actually starting to create a web. GC, Hills, Cobble, and Sprint all getting pretty decent, still lacking in the time trialing department. But even the blue web that we see here includes the progress up until now. I really wish it would just lock in your last year squad versus this year squad and retain that, and then, you know, just year by year shift over and lock that in. That's today's team, not the team we started January 1st with. And I was just showing you how much progress we have made as a group. But outside of Zhu, who's only 4 stars on paper because he's only got quality in the sprint, the new guys coming in outside of Gostein is upgrades on what we have already. So we are absolutely headed in the right direction, and you can see how everything becomes 2.5 stars or better. Did Mokaki just leveled up in 2 days. He was 2 stars. Still doesn't have the potential to actually do anything, though. We're in Norway for 4 stages. Stage 1 here is a sprint stage, but I have brought a alternative team to what we raced with last time. Different riders. Reason being, things were close enough back to back that I decided I wanted to get fitness peaks and see what that could do. Give an alternative group a chance. So these guys all have the objective, and most of them are on their fitness peak already, so we have good expected race day conditions. And as we come up on 13K to go, we've got 1 hill left to navigate here. As you will drop him to 3rd in line momentarily. I don't know if he'll recover enough to contribute some more, but got a big push here for a sprint point. They've been attacking these pretty heavy today. As you will drop back. Zhu's going to drop back. Not good enough to contribute right now. Once these guys hit this, a lot of them are going to back off, which is going to give us a chance because there's just 10K remaining. So Zipinati kind of push it on. And as this group goes to sit up, we're going to be able to come out front with 9K and be able to push on from there.
The teammates of the main sprinters are not handing
for
out
Sophia.
tickets for a breakaway, so the stage will end up in a mass sprint.
7.5K. I think we can go full gas. 21 riders in the peloton. We have split the field. 6K. 6K. Come back together as the red bar ran out. We lose just a little bit of pace. This is setting up my red bar for those last guys, but there's just not enough left here of these guys to give us something. 3.7. Almost onto the sprint. Soft sprint for Abdullah. Okay, Grunland taking off. It's very flat through here, so I figured we can get away with going a little earlier and technical. Grunland gave a good lead out to Altingaro, but Altingaro's just not a great sprinter, and while we got the good setup, Red Bar, for one, didn't make it to the finish line, even with the big bonuses. 2, he wasn't fast enough anyway, even before the Red Bar ran out, and he lost maybe 1 bike length over the last 100 meters, 150. Even before that, those guys were already overtaking him. So we are at a bit of a pace deficit, especially to Groenewegen, who's got an 80 sprint. All it takes is one bad day from him and one day of us getting it right. We had the bad day from him. That was not the day getting it right, at least not for Altingaro as a sprinter. I think Zhu might have had a better shot at that, actually, all things considered. But, of course, the climbing would have drastically changed things. So, hard to say. Altingaro at a 72-75, that didn't look that fast for him. Abdullah is supposed to be one of our lead-out guys, but with a -1 race day condition, he's getting bumped down to, well, going first. Domestique duties. And Stanley Sophia, though not a sprinter, has a great flat rating and could give us the lead out we need to get us in the right position for the 2 sprinters to follow. So as we get inside 13K, it's technical, very windy, so it's very very much about right position. The road's not that wide, little bit of undulation, like there's a small chance here that being out front could, 1, split the field, 2, could give us that it's difficult for them to overtake us thing, as we're looking pretty good. But this big flat bridge, slightly uphill bridge, by the way, 9K would be a path. A little late to bring these guys back into it. I think we're set for what we were looking for anyway, and no damage being done here. Now 7K, 98 riders. Okay, it's not so technical through here as I thought it might be. 6K. 5K banner. Last 3 riders at this point, but I feel like the tempo that we're setting is good. Let's just hope this doesn't hurt these guys as we hit this little hill. Here comes Engelhart attacking, but he's the last lead out rider. 3K onto Altingaro. And he is sprinting. And Groenland, we definitely got the lead out, but we are in the... Pedersen's coming on fast. Engelhart, Groenland's gonna get it. No, he's not. No, here comes Groenewegen. Oh, he got it. Oh, wow, Groenewegen was so much faster, but Groenland, we got it right today. And wow, that was scary at the end. It was Rasmus Pedersen, by the way, but Groenland, we got a win. Yes. Holy crap. Well, that's not going to change anything on the riders we signed. But it does expand the pool for next season. I don't have the dossier points to get after anyone anyway, and nobody's gonna like us. Figures that I just now noticed that the face cam was still in the spot where I was doing the signings work, and not in the racing position. My bad on that part. Of course, it's fixed now that we're done with racing for the episode. We're going to leave this with the wheel spin with either Asia or Africa, full continents, or specific Baltic region of Europe. That's the smallest group remaining here, but it is the best in terms of training structure. And it looks like we are locked in on Africa. Yeah, middle. That is supposed to be 5 nations. It's only going to be 4. Here is why. Ethiopia was a 3-2 nation. Was at the start of the season. But thanks to success at the World Tour level, it's now a 5-2 nation. I think one could argue that it should be included, as it was in the pool for the start of the year and I only reset it on a yearly basis. I think it's a slippery slope to accept a nation that's already been bumped, a nation that's already higher, and I need to make that move in real time So Ethiopia will be in the top 5 unlocks, not in the top 3. So Ethiopia is not added, but Algeria, Morocco, South Africa, and Rwanda are. And 2 of them are 3-2 nations. So even though it's only 4 nations, it's a decent haul. That is going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.